All right, now let's get into extra innings. And I told you earlier in the show with the whole Francisco Lindor, Giancarlo Stanton drama that we had, it was all about sign stealing. It was all about tipping pitches. So what I want to do now is explain that in detail, exactly what's going on, or just what's going on at all times on a baseball field. Now, look, when I was playing, when I was coming up through college and even into pro ball, one thing we're taught is to find a way to pick up what the pitcher is doing. Find a way. He's got to be tipping. The majority of pitchers tip their pitches. That's just a fact. It's over 80% of pitchers are tipping in some way or the other. Can you pick it up? Well, the whole time, that's what we're trying to do. That's what you're trying to do in the dugout. Now what becomes interesting is how. There's certain ways it can be done. Sometimes when he throws a fastball, his glove stays still. Sometimes when he's throwing a curveball, his glove will flare out a little bit. That's one way to tell. There's a million ways to do that. Sometimes his tongue will stick out on a fastball, and sometimes it won't on an off-speed. There's a million different things that can be done. Sometimes you can't even pick it up from the dugout. You can only see it from home plate. You can only see it from second base. But then what happens is how do we relay this? How do we relay it to the batter? Sometimes it's a whistle, as maybe the Yankees were doing, according to Francisco Lindor. Maybe. He said, I'm not accusing anybody, but maybe. So what else can you do? Well, you can say your last name. There were multiple times where I'd be hitting, where it'd be, for a fastball, they'd say my first name. For off-speed, they'd say my last name. Come on, Ben. That means a fastball's coming. Come now, Verlander. That means an off-speed pitch is coming. That's just another way of doing it. Another way, you look at the third base coach or the first base coach, sometimes they can see the signs from the catcher. They'll sometimes do something, whether it be say your first name or last name, or do something weird with their pant leg, whatever it may be. There's a million ways to do it. But something else that happens is when runners get on second base. And what happens here is this is where it gets a little different. And this is what nobody sees happening. And a lot of people were getting frustrated hearing the thoughts of stealing signs, saying, wow, what, really? Yeah, really? This goes on every single pitch of every single game forever. Now, there's a line, don't get me wrong, but this isn't it. This happens all the time. And what I want to share is a few ways this happens. So if you're a runner on second base, for instance, I'm going to demonstrate what happens. So oftentimes you can be a runner and get out on second base, and you can pick up on signs either from the catcher, or you can pick up on signs from what the pitcher is doing from behind in the stretch. Now, this is how you relay it to a batter from second base if you're the base runner. There's a million different ways, a million different sign stealing things going on, tips you're picking up on, ways to relay it to the batter that people just don't understand. So if I'm a runner on second base and I'm getting my lead and the batter's over there, instead of looking at the pitcher, I'm looking at the batter. I'm looking at the catcher to get the sign, and then me and the batter are locked in on each other. Instead of looking at the pitcher, the batter is looking at me. And it could be as subtle as how do I get my lead? Whether I walk this way. If this is the second base bag and I walk this way to get my lead, that's a fastball. If I get the sign and I see it's an off-speed, I could walk this way. Get my lead this way. That's an off-speed pitch. If I get my lead and hold my right leg, fastball. If I see the sign, off-speed, get my lead, hold it with my left hand. It's very subtle stuff, but this happens all the time in baseball. It's all about picking up little things and relaying it to the batter. And that's what was happening. Maybe. I heard that Taijuan Walker was tipping his pitches. The Yankees might have picked up on that, and the different pitches of the whistle were what it was the pitch. Fastball is this certain whistle. Curveball is this certain whistle. And that might have been what is happening. And then Lindor picks up on it. Stanton gets mad that he picked up on it. But I want to reiterate here is that both sides are fine here. This happens all the time. So the Yankees pick up on something, great. They want to get it to the batter, great. The Mets see they're doing it. They're not happy, great. They have every right to not be happy. Fix it if you're tipping your pitches. But This is why I think it's okay, and I know it's okay, is because it's always happening. But both sides were frustrated, rightfully so. And it's the game within the game. It's what makes me love baseball so much, is the game within the game. Everybody's trying to get an upper leg. Everybody's looking for the flare of the glove from the pitcher in the catcher's legs. If his legs are too far spread when he's giving his signs, can we see the signals he's putting down? What does the pitcher do pre-pitch? Is he grabbing his hat a certain way to tip us off? But this is what's going on in the dugout every single pitch. Is you're trying to pick up on something, and if you get to second base and you know the signs, you figure it out, you figure out how to relay it to the batter. In spring training, we would go over, how do you relay these signs to the batter? Well, what we're going to do is walk this way or this way. But this is baseball. This is the game within the game. This is why I love the game of baseball, because there's so much going on behind the scenes, and we actually got to see a glimpse of that in the Subway Series. With the Mets and the Yankees, we got a glimpse of what is going on between the players, between the teams, in the weeds of the game. Obviously, we see what's going on the field. But Lindor gave us a glimpse of what's going on in the dugout. I heard a whistle. It was different pitches. I knew that's what was happening. And then Stanton's not happy that he picks up on it. But it's the game within the game that makes me love baseball so much. And I really thought that was a cool situation that we got to look at. And we got to hear from Lindor about it. And I just wanted to showcase what I learned throughout my career on the art of picking up pitchers that are tipping. And on the art of how to relay that to the batter. It is an art. It's an art. And it takes a lot of practice. And it's something that you learn growing up through the game. This is something that goes on. Obviously, there is a line, but this isn't it. This is part of baseball. Picking up on things, relaying it, then having to stop relaying it because you got figured out. That's baseball, and that's why I love baseball. Thanks for watching. If you love Flippin Bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.